Charlie, thanks for joining me. Welcome to Regina. I know you've been here for a few days. What was your talk today at the U of R about? What did it focus on?
So we've done some new research showing how we can reach the 1.5 degrees C target, which was agreed by the nations of the world in 2015 in Paris. So this is to limit global warming to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temperatures. And we've done some new research published, which shows that you can do this by trying to transform the way we consume energy and enjoy the wonderful services that energy gives us, like mobility, heating and cooling, entertainment and communication. And so I was just sharing the results of our research with colleagues at the university.
What are some of the things that you found in that research that people might be surprised by, just changing trends even in how we consume things and what we consume?
So one of the things that we've known for a while is that we can dramatically improve the energy efficiency of devices, appliances, vehicles and homes, through insulating, through improving fuel efficiency and so on. But one of the things we focused on was improving the efficiency with which we can provide the useful service. So if you think about mobility, you can say double the fuel efficiency of a vehicle, or you can double the occupancy of a vehicle, and it has the same overall effect in terms of energy needed to move people around. If you think about devices, what smartphones are doing, they are replacing many single-purpose devices in the home, from set-top boxes, video recorders, hi-fis, music systems, radios, scanners, cameras, now all on one device. And we found that means you can provide the same level of, in this case, entertainment, communication, relaxation with far less energy. So this is kind of the novel contribution of our work.
What sort of things can people do in everyday life that are easy switches they may not be thinking about that will help lessen their impact on the environment?
Well, the one we've known about for a long while is efficiency improvements. And these things generally, like people know, sometimes there's a bit of inertia, sometimes they're kind of upfront costly, but you save in the long run. These remain incredibly important. But some of the newer things which we were looking at were how the digital economy is creating new opportunities to essentially try new stuff as part of everyday life. So one example would be sharing economy business models, or what are sometimes called peer-to-peer schemes. And this is probably most evident in the transport sector, where there's now a whole range of alternatives to, buying and using your own vehicle with just you sitting at the wheel. So there's certainly in Europe we see lots of bike sharing, ride sharing, car sharing, and what's called mobility as a service, which links together different of these modes. So as consumers, in this case moving around, we would certainly encourage people to try these sorts of things as part of a broader trend which we see with the millennials, the younger generations, which is a trend away from ownership towards what's sometimes called usership. So in other words, we're not interested in owning something and using it solely for our own use. We're interested in accessing a service. And that service may be provided in loads and loads of different ways. Maybe some days we want to bike, some days we want to walk, some days we want to drive, some days we want to share a car with someone. So this thinking of mobility as a service where we can try out these different ways could have beneficial effects in terms of reducing energy consumption.
I want to talk about Saskatchewan specifically. At your talk today, and you did a bit of a Q&A afterwards. What were some of the things that caught your attention, concerns or thoughts from people in the audience?
It was really interesting presenting here. So I'm from the UK, obviously, in case you hadn't guessed the accent. And we get different questions about our work over there. Here, a lot of people were concerned with particularly rural communities, communities up in the north, like remote communities, and also people who work in extractive industries and energy-intensive industries in particular, who clearly have really strong and very legitimate concerns about their livelihoods and their ways of life. Unfortunately, in this situation that we're in, continuing as things are is not no action. In continuing as things are is inviting ever worse climatic disruption. This weekend in Regina, and the heat wave that we've experienced is completely consistent with what we expect to see more frequently and more intensely as the climate warms. So it's really important to recognise that just keeping things as they are and protecting livelihoods in energy-intensive industries is not a viable course of action unless we want to invite climate disruption. And so, one of the things we talked about in the Q&A at the university was the ways in which, governments, policies, communities can try and support those industries, those sectors and those communities who need help in the transition towards a cleaner and lower emission future. And that's critically important to bring all members of the community with this in this transition.
Charlie, thanks for your time.
Thanks.